Have you ever felt that whisper in your soul calling you to something more, but all the things spinning around in your mind have kept you stuck? Well, what if I told you that choosing excellence could be both easier and more adventurous than you could ever imagine? I am Chelsea DeBruin-Colbert, your host of All Things Excellence. I'm a soul catalyst for excellence who leapt off that corporate cliff and left small town Iowa farm life in my 20s to follow my calling, helping women come home to themselves by anchoring into who they're designed to be. I create sacred containers where women rediscover their truth, design their dream life, and transform those whispers into action. Now you can find me running my business from the soccer sidelines as a coach's wife, hiking my favorite Arizona mountain, or back in Iowa with my family, or on an adventure chasing my next sunrise, hot cup of coffee and journal in hand. Through intimate conversations about the stories, the traumas, and the transformations behind choosing excellence, we're creating a collective healing journey together. I believe in diving deep into personality designs, experimenting boldly, and learning life's greatest lessons through our beautiful chaos. Every week, my guests and I are going to rip down the curtains so you can see behind the scenes of real transformation as we explore what excellence actually looks like. Not just the highlight reel, but that messy middle where the magic happens. Whether you're seeking inspiration to take that leap or already on your journey and craving connection, this is your invitation to join us. So grab your coffee, settle in, and get ready to discover just how close you are to the life your soul is calling you to create. This is All Things Excellence. Hello, All Things Excellence fam. Here we are. Today is going to be, okay. Seatbelts on tight, drinks in hand. I have given my good friend Robyn the license to give me a really big vulnerability hangover tomorrow. And I already can feel it in my gut that it's gonna hurt. So, I will tell y'all who she is and what I love most about her, and then I'm going to tell y'all why I'm so obsessed with her more than normal. I'm always obsessed with her, but why I'm more than normal obsessed with her right now, and why she had to be on here for such a time as this, and why I'm going to have a vulnerability hangover because we're going to walk through some stuff today that's going to suck for me to talk about publicly, but we're going to do it anyways because I'm all about greater good. I know my human design, it's that 3-6, that crash, burn, and learn publicly. Here we go.
I love it.
I know, Enneagram 8, no shame. It's fine. I mean, I really do have no shame. So it's cool. It's fine. So you guys, who she is my friend. She's also a fellow Arizonian. Yeah. But
out here.
we met before I lived here. We met in Atlanta in the hallway in our direct sales career, right after you had Luke. And we were walking down the hallway and you needed to go into the restroom and pump. And how tall are you actually? Like more than a,
Flat-footed, 6'4", but I never wore flats when we were around each other.
yes.
There you
So basically, she's walking around a very solid 6'7", and I mean that because you don't even wear like a tiny kind of heels. You wear like a heel. So
yeah.
she 6'4", flat-footed, 6'7" when she was in heels, which is when we met. I was absolutely most likely wearing some sort of slide, so I was actually 5 foot and nothing. So there is a solid foot and a half difference whenever you all see us walking around. And still, we're going to talk about my obsession with the Dirty Golden Goose shoes later. If you don't know what they are, they're $600 sneakers. They're comfortable AF, y'all. They do have a 1 inch lift, so I am 6'1" when I'm wearing them. Um,
One, 6'1", 6'1".
1, 5'1", 5'1". I'm
Mhm.
5'1" when I'm wearing them, next to Robyn being 6'7". So, you guys, why I love her, very seriously, I think that being an Enneagram 8, it is so rare. Like, y'all actually don't, most people really actually don't know how, one, unhinged I really am. And, like, I really keep it at bay for most people.
I think you do.
I
I
do.
think you
Yes, and two, how I'm like this soft, nougaty, very emotional person who can like get very in her feels. So most people don't see that, but I love that with Robyn. I can be every single emotion on the emotions feelings wheel, and it's cool. It doesn't affect you. No, not in the slightest. So as a friend, that's what I love. My favorite thing to do is to drive down. We meet Ish basically Ish in the middle. She has a kid and I don't, so I'm like always make sure I drive farther. So we drive down and we sit at a little sandwich shop or a coffee shop down in Oro Valley, which is very beautiful. I can't wait for us to both retire there because the views are
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's beautiful.
we're retiring on Oro Valley. We're already claiming it. And I love sitting there and just talking about every single thing in the world under the sun. Our conversations, I always say, like, if somebody is sitting in earshot of our conversations, they're like, damn, do these girls like each other? Like last week, she said to me, I wonder how many friends you'd actually have if you weren't so helpful. And I was like,
I can't believe
yeah.
that. I did say that,
You
didn't
did say
I?
that. And I got home and I was like, oh man, Cobe, like she said this to me. And he was like doing something with dishes. He turns around and he goes, damn, Robin. And I'm like, I know, but how right is she? He goes, oh, she is on point. And I'm like, I know, I know. I can be a very overly helpful friend, which I think is probably why I tend to be more closed off. So those are all the reasons I love her in life. But y'all, she's actually a marketing coach. Do not get this wrong. She's not a marketing firm. She's not writing your emails, creating your social media, telling you any of that crap. She's a marketing coach. So tell us, like, what does that mean to you? Like, who are you? What do you do? And you guys, you're going to hear her dog barking in the background. Her painters are there. This is real mom, wife, life, business, small business owner working out of her house. So
Thank you
deal
for
with
saying
it.
you're
Yes.
gonna hear them. They're losing their minds,
Yep.
and here we are. Here
Come
we
along
are.
for the ride. Welcome. Who are you? What do you help? Who's your ideal client? Like, tell us what you really do.
So this is, I'm going to say this because some of you may be familiar, but I'm going to say this for Chelsea first. So I feel like I'm the most projector coach I've ever met, and
Mm,
the idea that like as projectors, we're not high doers
no.
and create things for people and like
Hmm.
implement. We are overall visionary strategy and help you see what your
Hmm.
gifts are.
Hmm.
So I always tell people my superpower
Hmm.
is seeing your superpower and lighting the spark to ignite your business. So I call myself a marketing igniter
Mm.
because I'm going to light up what you naturally have inside of you. So you have so many gifts, so many talents that no one else has. And this world has taught us to start doing what everyone else has done.
Mhm,
That is literally what we're taught to do from birth, right?
mhm,
And then we go into school. It's like line up here, stand here, sit here, do this. All of us should look
mhm.
the same. And I, my whole life had no choice but to stand out.
Yeah.
Quite literally, as you heard, am six
When you're
four,
born
so
6'4".
I can't walk into a room and like hide. Like I don't go to a grocery store and like nobody notices.
Mhm,
It's a thing. And so one of the things I think that came out of that for me was, oh, I quite literally was born to stand out, but
mhm,
so were you, and so were
mhm,
you, but I got forced into it, so I had to either shrink down or rise up. And I think I had a lot of support, a lot of mentorship. My parents especially kind of
mhm,
really pushed me to like go live in my gifts. And as I've been in sales and just peopling for the last decade, I watched so many women especially shrink down to what people thought they could be.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
I really think so many of us are missing this really unique piece of us
Mhm,
that is like the biggest spark and biggest gift. And so Chelsea kind of hit it. I am the friend that's going to look at you and say the thing that nobody else is going to say.
yeah,
And that is really hard in friendships.
mhm,
It is really great for business, by the way.
yeah.
Just want you to know that is no, it's like, let's get through it. I don't need to like fluff and butter you up. Let's get to why you
Mhm,
aren't where you want to be.
yeah,
And most people are not where they want to be because they're being should on 24/7. You should do this. You should do this.
mhm,
This is how you get here. This is how you get here. When all they need to know is what is right for them and how do they move forward. And the big piece, accountability to get there.
yeah. So
That's huge.
something that I'd said to her last week was I was like, ugh, I was like, I'm just so frustrated. I just feel like nothing I'm doing is actually converting into anything. And I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. And the biggest advice that you gave me right there was that I just need to niche down because I really don't know. Like, I really don't know who I'm going for, what I'm going for, or even if I do, it's so abstract because it is like, who I am as a coach is just so innate to me. And so I feel like you have this gift where what we're just doing because it's just who we are. And you could be a mindset coach, you could be a soccer coach. I also think like you work with a lot of like blue collar business owners as well. I think that you see into them, you see into their business, you see this thing that nobody else sees that you're like, this is like, you need to hang your hat on this.
Yeah.
You need to brand yourself on this. And so is that kind of what you,
Yeah, absolutely. And so when I look at, and so Chelsea and I've talked about this a lot, I look at like value proposition over everything.
hmm
So
hmm
for me, my actual demographics of client look really diverse, but overarchingly, most of my clients are, and my ideal clients are solo entrepreneurs to smaller businesses. And
hmm
one thing that I always say is it's the people who are ready to hear the hard thing.
mm,
And
yeah,
and a
yeah.
lot of people actually ready to hear the hard thing. So usually these
hmm
people are 2 to 3 years in business, right? Because they've tried the thing, it's
hmm
not working. They spent all the money. A lot of people I've a lot of my clients unfortunately have been like scammed by marketing companies, and they're like, I don't want to buy another thing. And I'm like, good, I don't sell anything, right? Like, don't
Yeah,
worry. Like, don't worry, I don't sell anything.
yeah,
And really helping people get clear on who they're serving, because I think about it a lot, like overarchingly. So when you look at a billboard, right? A
yeah.
billboard is marketing, it's advertising, right?
hmm
But it's talking to a very vast majority of people versus
hmm
when you're on, let's say, TikTok, for example, and you get a TikTok that you're like, they just read my soul. Oh my gosh, that's me. And you
Yeah,
send it to your best friend and you go, oh my gosh, how do they know?
yeah.
That's the difference in really getting in value proposition of aligning with people who you value similar things,
hmm
or you offer
hmm
something they value. So for me, my clients, they really do value my honesty, which means they know that their feelings are going to get hurt sometimes.
Yeah.
I am going to hurt people's
Because
feelings.
talk about the difference so our listeners understand. Like, we used to follow psychodemographics, and now we follow value proposition. And this is
Well,
everything from like your auto mechanic to your dentist to, because I think about the dentist that I finally got here. I researched him up, down, all around him and his wife to see who they are, what's important to them, what they value, where they're from, where they went to school. And then I found like even though he's never lived in Iowa, like his parents both went to college in Iowa, and I've never told him this because this sounds pretty creepy, but I know for a fact that his dad grew up around my parents. So he just said so. I was like, this is my dentist. I've been waiting all of my not living in Iowa life to find you and been going back to Iowa instead.
and
Like, is
here's the
that
thing.
that? Is that like it wasn't about like it was I found what he valued in life and I went after him versus what would you say the psychodemographics are? Like
So
give a comparison of
yeah, like so psycho and physical demographics are
yeah.
like you're 35, you have two
Mm,
children, you live in this zip code, you shop at this store, you have, this amount of
mm.
income, you own this many cars, right? That is very, and I will tell you, most people are still using
Yes, they
those.
are because people kept asking me that. Like, and I've hired all the expensive people, and I'm like, if somebody gives me one more freaking workshop that says, "Who is your avatar?" and she's like 35 with two kids, drives a Suburban, and like is on the PTA, I'm gonna literally throw up because I'm like, that's not really like my. I always would say like, but my client, she's not really like a specific age or that's like not really who she is, and I think I knew that without knowing that.
So here's
Like
the
a
thing.
little. I
I'm
mean,
not
she's only
saying,
20, but
well, and I'm not saying it's never
yeah.
appropriate to use that, because there are some, like, especially when you're
hmm
talking like geofencing, or you're talking like
hmm
targeting an audience on SEO, like there is some of that is necessary.
hmm
But when you're looking at who you're talking to,
hmm
like, I'm okay, I'm going to use this example, and this is probably not, I don't know if this relates to your audience, but like how you talk to your grandma versus how you talk to your best friend is probably not the same if you say it
Yes.
is your life. Like,
Yes.
I know your group chat, you're throwing your phone out the window. Like, I get
hmm
it,
hmm
right? So like that's kind of the difference of like, what do we adjust ourselves, right? That's just
Yeah.
naturally how we're made. And
Yeah.
so when you look at that, when I look at you and I, technically you and I have some demographics similar,
Mm-hmm.
but overarchingly, our demographics are pretty separate
Yeah.
just by our lifestyles. If you were to look at our demographics, our age is fairly close.
Yep.
I have two-step kids. I have a kid in school. I have
Mm-hmm.
PT, like, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I have lived in this house for whatever. I've been in Tucson my whole life. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't moved. I haven't, so technically, demographically, we have a lot of differences. But if
Yeah.
you were to put our value systems together, you could probably market to both of us really well,
Yes. Yes.
right? So for
Yes.
example, when it comes to health and
Yep.
how we both, right, we
She
both align
she's already held up a True Bar and a Cure electrolyte.
right here. So, like, in general, and people will say this about me, Robyn, you don't look like uh whatever, like you natural, had a
Oh, like
natural
a
birth,
scrunchie. Like
like
scrunchy, right?
scrunch.
Like not crunchy, but scrunchy. You don't look scrunchy.
I am a scrunchy mom though.
Yeah,
Like
you
I'm
are.
scrunchy,
Yeah.
and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Chelsea and I align on that so
So
much.
much.
So if you
Hmm.
only market us based on our demographics, you've lost one of us.
Yes. Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Agree. Agree. Because it really is. I mean, and so you guys, what we both love a good session in the sauna to sweat out our toxins. We both love, like the True Bars, which are a really good, clean, but delicious protein bar, but it's also not too much. It's like the perfect amount. Cure electrolytes, like goodbye, liquid IV and elements, like see you later. Cure is the newest, cleanest electrolyte in town. We love it. But then it comes like something that I'd said to you was how when I bought a home when I was 24 years old, and even then when I sold that home and I got money from selling that home, I did not take that money and buy a new home because at that point in my life a decade ago when I sold that, I didn't need to I had no and I'm still not even quite there. There's not a I don't have a desire. It's a little bit getting there now. I don't have a desire to own my home. Like, I don't even care about that. I would rather I took that money and I invested in me and I bought coaches and I bought courses and yeah, I did
Yep.
books
And that's exactly it. Like I tell people, I
but I was a
know,
30-year-old married female a real estate agent. Right?
yeah,
She went for me.
absolutely. She would totally go for you. Like,
Yeah.
but here's what I will tell you. That's the biggest thing that I look at is like we expect people to value what we value,
Mm-hmm.
but I can look at you and look at your lifestyle and I could tell you your priorities. And
Mm-hmm.
this is my biggest pet peeves is like, I just don't have time for that. And I'm like, yeah, yes, you do. I told one of my clients this the other day. This is so bad. I was like, I need you to stop saying I don't have time, and I need you to look at that person
Mm.
or look at that thing, and I want you to say to them, I don't prioritize you.
Yeah. Yeah. Agree. Because it is, we always have time for the things that we want to have time for. We will
Right?
make time.
Like, you're so busy.
Yeah.
I'm like, actually, I'm
Yeah.
not that busy. You just don't get access to me after 4 p.m. or on
Hmm.
weekends. To you,
It's,
you have a
yes, it's why I will go to Pilates at 9 o'clock on Wednesday and Friday, but I will not go to Pilates at 11 o'clock on Wednesday. Did I used to? Yes, absolutely. But then my values and my priorities changed where I'm back kicking butt and taking names, and I cannot quit what I'm doing at 10:30 on a Monday and not get home until 1 o'clock. I
right.
cannot because then my energy's done. So then I've smoked my whole day. I got 2 good hours of work out of my whole day on a freaking Monday. I value movement and progress in my business more than I value that Pilates class. Sorry, Pilates class friends. I know you're listening. I know Jesse's listening. I'm so sorry. I love y'all so much. But unfortunately, if you want me to pay for Pilates on Wednesday and Friday, I've got to work on Monday.
The thing is that you still prioritize Pilates. It's just
Yeah.
where does it end up, right?
Yeah.
And for me,
Exactly.
I mean, I do work with quite a few moms, mostly because
Hmm.
they value a lot of those same things.
Yeah.
And what you'll find is like this idea of we have to grind every day and make so much money and we have to be great moms. I'm like, do we? Like, do
Yeah.
we have
Agree.
to? And so
Agree.
that's really like looking at, and that's why I feel like I'm have such a good ability to look at people
Mm,
without judgment, with clarity, saying,
agree.
hey, right now,
Mhm.
you are not going to prioritize working 40 to 50 to 60 hours a week.
Mm.
You're going to prioritize this little child who, guess what, in the next 5 years will look at you and be like, "Ah, I don't really want to hang out with you anymore,"
I
right?
know.
That's okay, right? Like,
Because your
and
son is 6. My niece and nephew are at that 6, 7. They're 6 and 7. They're almost about to ready to turn 7 and 8. And I'm getting less cool by the day. Like they are less phased when I FaceTime. But the 3 and the 4-year-old are like, just the six.
you know,
It's
that's and here's the thing though. I have clients who are moms that have a
mm,
different priority than that. And I don't think that
mm,
makes them a bad mom.
no.
They just prioritize things differently than I do.
Hmm.
And that is the part where I want people to show up in a judgment-free zone, but you've got to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
What are you, because marketing takes time and money.
Yeah.
Most of the time it takes both unless you have a lot of one or the other.
Yes.
If you have a ton of money, doesn't have to take as much time.
Hmm.
If you have a ton of time, it could take less money. Now, it's the most effective when you put them
Mm.
together. And so that's my theory. And the
Yeah.
longer you're doing something, hopefully the less time it takes, but it will always cost money to market it. And it,
Yeah.
it just, it is what it is. Um, and money for me can move and shift in whatever that looks like for people. But
Yeah.
um, I just think that we need to start being more and realistic with ourselves of
Yeah.
how much what we value.
Hmm.
And so with business owners, it's hard because they're like, I value calling my people back right away. And I'm like,
That's not what you're talking about. You're talking about like, why do I not own a home, but I own $600 dirty tennis shoes and a $1,300 pop-up sauna?
because you
That's
value, yeah. And so
hmm.
I know exactly how to market to you. But it like I know exactly how to market to you. And
Yeah.
most people do as well, especially on social media. This is something that's getting more and more awareness. Is like
Yeah.
we talked about this a little bit ago. Like some of these smaller creators are having more financial success because they're
Than the
so
large creators. Like
right.
their conversion rate is much higher.
Because they have this audience who they
Hmm.
know exactly what they love. They probably
Hmm.
know exactly how to get it right in front of them.
Yeah.
And they're getting more consumption from them than having tons of people with less consumption.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So true.
Yeah.
That is so true. So, talking about that, so this is one of the things that I brought up to you last week was that I'm just like my conversion as far as like what I'm doing out there on social media and et cetera is El Succo majorly. And you had said to me that I needed to niche down more, right? And then I also saw a couple days later that niching down in 2025 is like the way to go, which I'm like, okay, I do kind of notice this with like things from restaurants to businesses to coaches. Like restaurants are like, we serve burgers, we make chicken tenders. So, how are you seeing that with your clients? And, feel free to say
Give you
anything that you would like to me or ask me any questions about
yeah.
that.
I think the biggest thing for me is I feel like in this age today, what I'm watching in
Hmm.
the market and what I'm seeing is there is so much information, right?
Yeah.
Like I was joking the other day with a client. They were like, "Oh, I sent a email." And I said, "I don't want to like throw people under the companies under the bus." I'm like, "Okay, I had a company email me 10 times in one day that was trying to market to me."
Yeah. You did for real?
Yeah, like for real. I showed it. I counted and I showed her. I said, "Look at them. They are coming for me.
Yeah, they
They
are.
coming for me and I'm probably going to actually do it because I wanted it. I'm the one who engaged, right? I
You're the
engaged.
one who subscribed to their emails.
It was my
And
bad. Like I did it,
you
right?
subscribed and they're like, don't you remember you want to buy?
Yes. And I said to her, I said, when you send one email, I just got 13 others to
Mm,
your one, right? In all reality.
yeah.
So here's another
Am I
theory I
not sending
have.
enough emails?
Well, so here's another theory I
But I
have
also
is
don't
that
want to feel like I'm suffocating people.
I know. Here's the hard part. There is no such thing in my world that is good and bad marketing. I don't believe in good and bad marketing.
Okay.
I believe in effective or
Digress.
ineffective. It's either effective or it's ineffective.
Okay.
And I say that because we could use a lot of examples. I'm trying to think of one that's not
You,
really
what is an email that
controversial.
I've sent you that you're like, that just wasn't effective?
So it's not that. It's not that your email isn't effective. It's that why am I opening it? And do I
Yeah.
value the thing you're offering me?
Yeah.
And are you in front of me enough? Now, here's what I will tell you, Chelsea.
Yeah.
You do a great job of being in front of people through Instagram stories,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
That's your, I mean, you know this. I tell you all the time, you stress me out as a projector, like you're doing time.
I go a little harder than most projectors.
For sure.
Yeah.
And my 2-4, even my hermit is like, girl,
I
I,
know. I mean, and
yes,
then like, if you guys don't know what we're talking about with human design, you need to like message one of us and we'll help you out with this. But
yeah.
basically with human design, like you're just like Kobe. You're like Kobe. You're that like you're a guide. You're that hermit, more of a recluse. And I am the guide and the advisor, but my parts with me underneath that is more I am like throwing myself off of a ledge of adventure and trial and error and screaming, "Let's go, everybody!" while I'm doing it. And Robin's like, I'm actually going to stand 20 feet back from the ledge that you just threw yourself off of and let me know if you splat. I'm not going to do that, but like if it works out for you, like, cool girl, send me the link, man.
I do it, Chelsea. I'm like, oh, you tried the cure? Is there less sugar? Are they good? What flavors? And now
Yeah.
try them. You try
Grapefruit
all.
is so terrible. It just is like not hitting. But like the
Yeah.
lemon lime, so good.
But okay, so that's kind of so going back to that a little, like most people, if they're listening to me that know me, are gonna go, Robin's not a recluse at all. So here's what's funny. I am when I'm in public
When
and
you're
I'm
on, you're
around
on, and when you're off, you're off. Straight up. Like I do know
that
that about you.
I'm a light switch. There
Yeah.
is no dip.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm all the way up or I'm all the way
Mm-hmm.
down. Like
Mm-hmm.
even my clothes,
Yep.
like the people that see me, like when I'm all the way up,
Yep.
I've got heels on, I'm dressed to the nines, I've got the jewelry. When I'm all
Yep.
the way down, you're gonna see me in a sweatsuit.
Okay, we were at dinner with friends last night who are here visiting from Iowa, and I made a comment about Kobe being such a recluse or something like that, basically in his 2-4, right, in his profile. And they were like, "What are you talking about? Kobe is like the life of the party. He's so fun. He's so outgoing." And I said, "No, he's actually not at all. He is only outgoing and he only talks to people he likes. If he doesn't like you, he's going to make every excuse, or if he just like your energy is too much for him, which is what it is a lot. It's not that he doesn't like you because he doesn't not like anyone. He just, if your energy is too much for his little hermity self, he's just not going to go. You're not going to see him."
And that's the thing. My friends would go, "You've disappeared." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I've people too much. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
There's too much of you."
Yeah.
Like they're like, "We're like either," and so I've learned how
Yeah.
to balance that now.
Mm,
Thank goodness
yeah.
human design really helped me with that. Finding because I lived in I was always out and then I was always exhausted and I was like up, down,
Yeah.
all. So and that actually kind of reminds me back to like what we were talking about the value thing
Yeah.
is as a business owner
Hmm.
learning the values for you. So like one of the things that my friends will be like, "Oh, you're so annoying," is like I when it's right, I don't have to work hard. I get my business from people knowing me and my relationships and they just come. It
Yeah.
is very true. I've experienced it, but I have to put myself out there, which is why I like have a love-hate relationship with social media because of my hermit.
Yeah.
And I can't really do a consistency thing. Like it can't be every week you get access to me
Yeah.
or I have to
Mm.
show up this way because that is not how I'm designed. So
Hmm.
I created something which Chelsea and I have been talking about a lot. I
Yeah.
created a membership that
Yep.
aligns with me
Yep.
and my style of personality and giving my gifts away freely without draining myself. That's exactly what I'm
Hmm.
talking about when we talk about marketing is don't look at what everyone else around you has done in your industry
Hmm.
or that is like you. Go, what can I sustainably do that I'm going to love? I'm
Hmm.
not going to resent and I
Yep.
can show up my best self as often as possible.
So just so you guys know, she's currently building this container, this membership, and you can ask about it because it's currently being built and designed. There's some of us that are getting to beta test it, and it is where any form of business owner, because we had a little beta test Zoom or video call last week, and y'all, it's everything from I don't know what all industries were in there. You tell me.
Oh my gosh. So
I
let's
was
see.
there.
I've got coaches, I got a couple coaches.
Yeah,
I have people in direct sales,
yeah.
like side hustler direct sales, because I definitely think that's
There are
just been
dudes in there like power washers.
I have a lot of male trades in there. I have an improv company, local improv company, got an event planner. Like I have, and here's why. One, because it's about what they value. In this
Yeah.
group, my value proposition is they're solo entrepreneurs doing this alone.
Yeah.
They want community, they
Yeah.
want feedback, and they also want to grow and learn in a safe container,
Yes. Yes.
right?
I do love because something that came out between the two of us like a month ago was when you get so in alignment, it's like I've never felt so aligned and so alone at the same time. Right. When you finally get in this spot where you're living the way you need to live and you're doing what you need to do and you've kicked all the extra yuck out of your life, whether those are jobs, tasks, people, you get to this point where you're like, I've never felt so aligned and so alone all at the same time. And so I feel like the container that you're creating, where you're creating like a cohesive group marketing growth experience, is people who value what you value, which means they all value very similar things, coming together to learn how to effectively grow their business.
Well, and the other part of that, I
Yeah.
think that's huge that you and I talk a lot about is
Hmm.
every person has their own genius. So
Yeah.
when we bring it to the table and
Yeah.
all of us bring our genius, whatever industry
Yeah.
that you're talking about, like I had a group coaching session. My husband happened to be a part of it, and he was talking about his business.
Mhm.
And one of the people in the
What is
group
his
session,
business?
so he's an auto broker, auto dealer. It's
Hmm.
carmagazine.com if you want to
Yep.
learn about it. He's what I call him. I've always called him the car concierge, which we've talked a little bit about marketing
Hmm.
wise. It's a little bit of a hard word, right?
Yeah.
Woman goes, I don't really understand what you do. So he walks through it and she goes, oh, you're the personal shopper of cars.
Correct.
And he goes, oh, guess what? His new branding is your personal car shopper, right? Because
Which is
that
so beautiful. Which is so beautiful because I bought a car a year ago. We were both buying a car at the same time. And it was so stressful because there's a lot of cars out there. And then it came down to it where, oh my gosh, listen to this value proposition. I never thought about this. It came down to I wanted my car search started with I wanted an Audi. And then I reached out to actually reached out to my family who's here visiting right now. And I said, I know that you always use a certain website to look at cars. What is that website? Because I want to put an Audi into it, which never buy an Audi. That's what I learned from that. Always broken, always expensive to fix. And so what then ended up happening was what boiled down was like, okay, here's the deal. My brothers will only drive GMC and Chevy, basically the same company, right? So I need to buy a GMC or a Chevy. I need to have a third row because I value space in my car when my niece and nephews from Iowa visit once a
yeah.
year. Yes, you guys, I value all of us getting to be in the same car so much. I bought a ginormous car for their once a year visit. Absolutely. And I also, when I was looking at the car, like some of the options, I went with a car that would give them the best ventilation in the back seat because there's nothing worse than bad ventilation in a car in the back seat when you live in Arizona.
True.
Correct?
So true.
Uh-huh. And so then I went with the GMC Acadia because I knew if something ever happened with this car and it's a GMC, I could call my brothers and they would give me advice because that's their business. They literally own companies that do that and they are trained diesel mechanics, right? So that's yeah, that's how I got
See,
from an Audi, like an
and
Audi
here
Q5 to a GMC Acadia.
and that's the thing for so that you have to
Hmm.
look at
Hmm.
that is the best way. I'm going to like recommend everyone do this now.
Hmm.
That's the best way to know what you actually value.
Ah,
Because what Chelsea just told you,
hmm.
she values the convenience of not calling anyone but her brothers,
Yes.
right? She has the convenience factor. That's what you value. The
And
convenience
it's
of
like I know they're not gonna lie to me because like I
right. A
don't
trust.
don't sell to me, don't lie to me, don't flatter me. Like flattery, 1 ounce of flattery, and I'm like, we're not friends. Get out of my face right now.
Right. Which is why you love me so much, because obviously everything
Yeah,
you've said so like dang, I've said that
yeah,
out loud to you. Yeah, I
yeah.
have. Okay,
But I
cool.
love it because I don't want to be flattered and I don't want to be sold to. Like I don't need you to tell me that I'm smart and brilliant and awesome. Obviously,
Obviously, we know this, or we wouldn't be
I
here.
already know
But
this about myself.
that's exactly, you know, it's so funny because I just, when you brought that up, I was thinking about when I bought my car.
Yes,
And
because we bought the cars at the same time. Yeah.
so I really wanted a Toyota Sequoia, right?
Hmm.
So at the end of the day, money is always a factor in buying a car. I don't care
Yeah.
what anybody says, unless you're a billionaire,
Yeah.
money is a factor.
Yeah.
So my husband and I sat down and I taught him this. I was like, I know who his ideal clients are because I do this for a living. He just had to learn it himself. It took him a long time. So
Yeah.
just saying, doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, here's what I know. I don't want an old Toyota because a Toyota never breaks down. They're like the best cars ever. I want bells and whistles
Yes.
over
I want
over
new
the
bells and whistles.
and
See, I
yeah, the
also, that was important too. It had to be new because I needed all the most up-to-date safety features and
my thing was,
technology.
yeah, I'm not about that is not
Um,
technology for me. Safety is my husband's concern, right? I let him deal with
Yeah.
that.
I'm just not
I'm
a
like,
base car kind of gal.
thank you. I was like, I need heated and cooled seats because I
Yeah.
live in Arizona. It's freezing at night. I don't care what anybody says. It gets so cold here
I
in the
put
night.
my seat heater on every morning and every night. Hi, thank you. Also, it's a
Thank
high
you.
of 67 today. Do you know what that's like without humidity? It's cold.
It's cold.
It's
And
cold.
then during the day, I need that fan
Yes.
on my, you know?
Yeah.
So I like I need both and he's like, "Well, with our budget, that's not a 2025 Toyota so Toyota Sequoia is not going to
Yeah.
work." I'm like, "Well,
Mm.
find me something with all those things that look slick." And I'll tell you right now,
Yep.
if you would have told me I'd be driving a Kia Telluride, I'd be like, "Excuse me." I love that.
I love the
I
Kia Telluride. I would have
I
gone for Kia Telluride, except for my husband is not a car concierge, so I had to pay the market price.
they're
A
a little more expensive.
little more
Yes.
expensive,
Yeah.
right? So I knew that I wanted, so yeah, I'm like, I want a car with under 15,000 miles because that means it's basically new, but it's not new. And I went to school for personal finance, so I was like, it's come down a little bit. I knew all the bells and whistles for all the reasons exactly that you just listed. I knew either it needed to be black or white. I would like white, my husband would like black, and it probably will become his car because you do not get to drive brand new cars onto high school parking lots. Like that's not a thing. We're never doing that. So that
Okay.
mattered.
Now we're in the vulnerability space for a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
I want you to take that and start writing that for your clientele. You right
For
where you're
my
saying,
clientele is like coaching.
yeah, like as coaching, like what are they sitting there going? Like, oh, why would I
Mm.
want white or black? What are they saying about Chelsea? What do you
Oh.
add value? What are the things that you show up for? Because like for
See, and this
me,
is where I don't know. Like, this is where I go
oh,
absolutely blank. I'm like, I can tell you about anybody else. I can tell
ask,
you, like, I could write Cure's marketing plan. Like, even like the skincare that we both love. I'm like, if you want the most cost effective, clean as you possibly can with anti-aging that actually works product,
we got it. There you go.
I know where you need to go.
Here's the deal. We'll take this one offline because I know exactly what the questions I need to ask you. One, because I know a little bit about you, your
Yeah.
Enneagram, your human design, which is kind of what I
Yeah.
do. I use all of those.
You
And
take all
then
the things.
yeah, and
Yeah.
because here's what really what I'm going to make you think about for the rest of our podcast and until we meet again
Yeah.
is the people that are showing up in front of you. I want you to wake up and go, "Oh my gosh, I get to meet with this client today and I can't wait to have this conversation because I know they're going to value my feedback." So for me, one of the I've said
Mm,
clients, which as an I've only been in business a little over a year by myself, right,
yeah.
on my own. And somebody said to me, "How in the beginning of your business you can't say no to clients?" And I said, "I totally disagree with that. Because then you're going to work in so much unalignment, you're going to
Thank
get
you.
burnout."
You can't say yes to everyone or you will get burnout, right? Like,
I
so if you think it is better to only pick clients that you align with versus also, can you talk about in that? I do also think in there, it is like a paying what you're worth thing. Like, I see so many people who are brand new who have these like membership type of things and they keep discounting them. And I'm like, why the mother freak are you discounting a super cheap membership? Like, this doesn't even make sense. Like, why are you packaging a six pack and then like giving an entire session away? Like, this doesn't make sense to me. You're packaging 12 months and you're giving a free month away. I'm like, that doesn't make sense because like you just shouldn't have to do that. It honestly, like it just, mm,
here's the overarching on that is people really struggle to see their own value.
yeah,
Um what I've learned
yeah.
is
The right
the
people
way
will pay for you. Like if people aren't buying your membership, it's not that the membership is wrong or the price is wrong. It's how you're advertising it is wrong. You don't
I
know
would
who's going to value it.
overarchingly, yes. Now, I will tell you, many of my clients, we've had to price adjust. I will say that. Like, you've got to at least be like, we can't be selling, like, dollar store toys at like Tiffany prices, right? We still have to like, there
You still
has
have
to
to
be a
know your product. Okay, yes.
like to know the market
Yeah,
value and what people, right? But
right,
overarching
right.
my experience is that people undervalue. Like when I first started and I would tell people my prices, people would go, "That's a lot and you're brand new." And I said,
But you're not
I
brand new. I'm sorry, first of all.
first of all, I'm
First
not
of
brand
all,
new.
you have over a decade of business experience. You just pivoted
Exactly.
where you're doing your business. So, yeah, not brand new.
The second thing I said was, by the way, I've been contracted and everybody who's paid to work with me has paid that price. I might not have made that price, but every person that has worked
Mm,
with me in a contract has paid that price to sit with me. Why would I lessen that value when I'm getting all of the
yeah.
money?
And if they, so is that part of the value thing though? That's what you're saying is like if they think the price is wrong, then they don't value the transformation.
Right, because
Mm,
we'll go right back to your golden goose. I'll tell you right now, Chelsea, you and I value different things on that. I'm not buying dirty shoes for $600. I
right.
love that for you. And
Yeah.
guess what? You're in the norm. Most people are buying dirty golden goose because
Do you think
they
most people?
here's why I
Because
think
I also don't have my nails done. You have your nails done.
so okay, so here's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I have a lot of unpopular opinions and we're putting this on a
Let's hit it.
profile.
Let's hit all the unpopular opinions. Go.
So my unpopular opinion is that they really don't love the shoes. They are looking so most people, not you, Chelsea. I don't
Oh,
agree with this for you. They're looking for the validation and the
like,
trendy. I'm trendy. I'm wearing gold
oh,
and the validation and recognition that comes to people because most people live for recognition. I don't care what you say.
oh, and like, look at her. And
Yeah.
I genuinely, y'all, I genuinely, this is why I own a few pairs of them. I freaking love them. We talked about this where
Yeah.
it's like, I feel like I feel like they are, first of all, they're handmade.
Yes.
Like I'm Dutch, and Dutch people are very frugal. We are not cheap. Get it straight. I am not cheap, but I am
Not
very, very frugal. So it takes a lot of convincing to get me to spend a dime.
yes, true.
It's very hard to get me to spend money. But then once I love something, I'm like, take all my money. But it's very hard to get me to spend money at first. So with these shoes, I'm like, oh, they are hand stitched. They are exclusive. Like as an eight, I love exclusivity. They also are um they're the most comfortable things you'll ever wear. Like I have a pair of Nike Dunks and I love them and I think they're so cute and I would buy more pairs of them because then I'm like, "Oh, I could have four pairs of Nike Dunks and have all these different colors or I can have one pair of Golden Goose." And what sucks is like I can run all day long in my Golden Goose and I get home and I kick my feet off and my feet feel like I've been walking on air all dang day. Whereas my Nike Dunks don't feel like that. I feel like hot dang ow, my legs hurt and my feet hurt.
Okay, I'll go here with you because, right? So this is our difference in value.
Yeah.
My style says I cannot wear the same shoe every day.
Oh my gosh, and
That
I wear the same pink vibrant shoes. I mean, I even have other pairs of Golden Goose, but I still wear because they're the most comfortable pair of Golden Goose. I
and
still wear my pink
the
shoes.
same you even buy the same outfit in the same color multiple times and my brain is like that is the I cannot. The thing.
Yes.
That's like knowing that value.
Yes.
We can go every brand like Crocs, don't get me started on them.
Oh,
Don't get me started
no.
on them. But here's the thing. These companies that are huge or have blown up, they know exactly who their market is,
Mm.
right? Or someone has said, I think about the handle people. I have a theory on that. That's a whole nother
You're
podcast
talking
on
about
like how
Stanley?
yeah,
Here's the
and how
deal.
they're
I still love Stanley over Hydro Flask because I don't give a rip if this dumps. I don't care about it. You know what I care? That I can move the straw around. I do not like the restricted
and
straw
here
thing.
but here's that thing. That's exactly what we're you are hitting all my points like 100%. For me, what's my highest priority? I have a 6-year-old. He's knocking this thing over at least twice a day. It
Oh,
has to be, right? My priorities based on
yeah.
my current situation have to look different.
Correct, correct. So
Do
you're
I
saying like I'm just not like I know who I am and I know what I'm offering, but what I'm not doing is it's more my marketing needs to be so specifically targeted to the person that values me.
because how many people have made fun of me for having multiple cups that have a handle that are different colors all day long,
Yeah.
but and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I would never." And I'm like, "That's okay, but guess what?
Wait, is that
Stanley
still a Stanley, but you just put the other lid on it? Oh,
put the
I do
hydro."
kind of want the link to that lid.
I know. I'm
I
like,
also,
I
okay, so here's another thing. I think this says something about my value. I'm like, I don't want a Hydro Flask. I want a Stanley because all of my life, my 96-year-old grandfather, who still lives at home and goes on a walk every single day, has been drinking out of a Stanley thermos all of his life and obviously longer than I've been alive. And I am going to drink out of the same freaking canister that my 96-year-old grandpa has always drank out of, that I grew up
and
seeing him. And it like, I'm nostalgic. I'm like super freaking
yes.
nostalgic.
Well, and even going back to the golden goose in that of
Yeah.
like, you want to know that someone thoughtfully put your shoe together
Yeah.
and gave it
It's
to you. Like,
numbered.
but here's the deal. That's
There's
what
a
I'm saying.
number in the shoe.
Okay,
And I love that.
here's the deal. You can do that exact same thing with your client base, any business owner. But
Mm,
we're so afraid. This is what we're so afraid of.
yeah.
We're so afraid that we're going to say, Chelsea, I'm targeting you, that nobody else is going to buy from you, which is the stupidest thing on the planet, right? We have
Yeah.
such scarcity mentality when it comes to that because
Hmm.
when you, and I use I'm going to explain it. I think most people know, so I don't want to, I'm not dumbing it down, but like the
I think you could
reticular
dumb it down.
active, I know you know about
Oh,
this.
yeah. Dumb down the reticular activating system. Explain what that is for people because they will be
So
like, huh?
the best way to explain it is now I'll tell you for me, when I was looking at the Kia Telluride and I'm like, nobody has those. Well, guess what? As
Yeah, they do.
soon as
It's like the most popular car of 2023, you ding dong. You
right,
didn't know that?
yeah, now it is, right? I'm like, dang it. But I saw them everywhere. Like if and our brain is wired to help us answer yes. Our brain wants us to be right. That is
Hmm.
literally how it's wired. You can think about that in marriage, in
Yep.
friendships, in
Yep.
business. Brain is wiring us to be correct. So
Yes.
we are going to see the things that we want
Yeah.
to. This is why I believe in affirmations and all this stuff
That's
because that's
why
what
I
our
saw a post about I need a niche down after you told me to niche down.
exactly, right? You're going to see what you want to see.
Yeah.
And that I joke at marketing coaches, we could all be dating coaches because it's the same thing. Like I could teach you exactly how to do this in dating versus
Let's
like
not lie.
it's
We've taught people how to do this in dating.
uh,
Let's be
you're right.
real.
We have.
Yes,
You're
we
right.
have.
So this whole idea of the reticular activator is that
Okay.
your brain is going to see what you want, right? So
Hmm.
when you're talking about that for when you're talking about that for marketing specifically, if
Hmm.
you're like, hey, if I said to you, hey, Chelsea,
Hmm.
I'm a marketing coach. I help anyone who does business. Like, who do you know who has a business? They're great for me. You're like, your reticular activator is like, which by the way, Chelsea knows a lot of people who run businesses. Now,
And I do.
and if you, I'm Chelsea, did you think of someone? Maybe?
Well, I was just like, I mean, I know like a million people that own a business, but like, I'm like, so then I go, well, what are you specifically going to help them do?
But most people are not going to ask that question. Most people are not going to go,
Because
hey,
they don't
Chelsea,
know. Yeah.
because they no, they're not going to say, hey,
Yeah.
Chelsea, I don't understand what you said. Explain
Hmm.
that more to me.
So when you look at all of my stuff, if you were to sell me, what would you tell me? Like because you've seen my stuff, like you get my emails and you know my podcasts and you are my Instagram friend. If you looked at all of my stuff and I said, okay, I feel like I'm supposed to hire you, but like, why should I hire you? Like, what are you going to help me do?
So you're saying what, like you would hire me or I would hire
You.
you?
I would hire you. And I
Oh,
would say like,
hire me.
Robyn, why should I hire you? Why should I hire you? You've looked at all my socials and my website and my things. Where do you feel like I'm missing the mark? Why should I hire you? What is something that you're going to help me with?
So this is very another unpopular thing.
Okay.
Um, I don't ever convince people why they should hire me.
Yeah.
I know, and this happened to me not that long ago. I know that the right people when they're in front of me, and what I
Hmm.
do is I give my value away.
Hmm.
I give everyone a free consult. I give my value away.
Hmm.
Go take that and do it yourself.
Hmm.
If you find that what value I've given you, you aren't able to implement and stay accountable yourself, then come back
Hmm.
and hire me. Here's what it looks like. Here's the three ways
Hmm.
you can work with me and
Hmm.
what that looks like. And my biggest thing is if you don't see my value, then you shouldn't hire me.
Yeah. But I think what I'm asking is like, again, this is you guys, there's a part of my human design that is like very hard to understand things. We
I
make
get
fun
it.
of it all the time. You know what? You got to embrace it. So we just make fun of it. So it's like, where? is I guess it's like, well, where is the conversion? It's like, are you going to help me write my emails better? Are you going to help me? Or it's like, you're going to really help me niche down and figure out who,
Here's I got it. Here's what I'll tell you.
yeah.
Working with me, Chelsea,
Hmm.
you will never ever go again. I'm confused. I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know who my people are. I don't know
Mm.
why this isn't working. You're going to go, I know exactly who my people are. I know exactly how to attract them. I know exactly how to repel the people I don't want. And I know exactly where I'm going. And I have the process in mind.
I would like to learn that. Like, as much as I would like to learn how to attract the right people, I would also like to learn to repel the wrong people, because there's nothing
Yeah.
worse than sitting for an hour in a coaching session with someone that actually doesn't want to be coached. They just aren't being heard anywhere else in their life. And so they're paying you. And it's like, I am not a therapist. Do you want your money back? Because I want to give it back to you.
So,
I think that's
yeah.
real. But I mean, then that was something in marketing, right? Where I messed that up.
And I would say two things go with that. One, when you know so clearly
Hmm.
who you're when you know so clearly what you want out of your shoes, you're never buying a shoe that doesn't align with that. So when you know so clearly
Mm,
who your clients are, they're not even going to be interested in you. Does that make sense?
yeah.
When people that you're, and the other part of that is, and I would tell you, this is the vulnerable hangover. Sorry about this. Boundaries,
Yeah.
boundaries, boundaries,
You
boundaries.
mean
And
how
when
I
I,
give, like the thing that I'm supposed to be charging for, I just always end up giving it away for free to everybody?
that,
Because people call me or they're like, can you go to coffee with me? Can you go to lunch with me? And I think I'm being a good friend. And the next thing I know, it's like 2 hours later. And I was like, I think that's what I'm supposed to be charging for. I think that you were super confused and you didn't know what to do with yourself. And you were like all up in like a confusion storm and a chaos storm. And then I took your confusion and I held it for you. And then I created structure, and now you have that structure and now you're off and running, and I just lost 2 hours of my life, and I think I'm supposed to charge for that. You only give yourself away to free to one person, right? When you said that, I was like, oh my God, get out, stop it. Mm.
it might be hard to hear.
Which is when
And
then you said to me, if you stopped giving yourself away for free, how many friends would you actually have? That's when she said that to me, because it was like, how many people are your friend because they love that you hold all their crap for them and you help create structure out of their chaos. That's what you were saying to me.
yeah, that was tough. I don't know who says things like that, but I guess it's
Yeah.
me. And you're right.
I
And
I mean it, but it's so it's not, I wasn't even offended. Well, I'm not offended by probably anything, but I was like, F word. Because I think it's really real, and then when I say that to my husband, he's like, yeah, he goes, and I think that like, I think it is part of my human design, and it is part of my human design, where it's like people feel so comfortable with me that it's like they have this instant, like, we're best friends person. And I mean, my God, I'm going to a wedding of somebody that didn't even tell me happy birthday on my 40th birthday. She didn't even text me happy birthday, but 3 days later, text me about trauma in her family. Like, and I'm not even worried about her listening to this podcast because I don't even think she knows that I have a podcast. But yet I just spent $800 the other day on flights and a freaking wedding dress. But it's this problem that I have where it's like people, when you have that ability to like really hold the stuff for people and sit in the well for them, you you are everybody's best friend, but you don't have any best friends.
ow. That's and you know what?
You
What's
know?
interesting here, if there's coaches listening to this, I have found this is very common in the coaching world that like
Mm,
people will say like, "Oh, I just want to go have lunch with you," and lunch turns into a coaching session. And so what's uncomfortable is as a coach, you have to
hmm.
be the one, which I think is sales, right? I believe that that's the sales part of me that's like, "Oh yeah, totally. Here's my link, and I would love to help you with that. Just
Yeah.
book a session. Let's get into it." Right? But
Yeah.
I have that boundary. That's not their responsibility. And I do think
Yeah.
as like coaches or people in consulting or whatever you're doing, we have to have the boundary of, and I've seen, luckily I saw it firsthand watching people take advantage of my coach and some of my mentors. And I'm like, and when we would sit together,
Hmm.
they would be like, it feels so refreshing to just have a friend who asks me how I'm doing, not wants to like use me for my coaching.
Hmm. Well, do
And I
you
think,
feel like you could have that in any industry though, right? I feel like watching my brothers who are in the diesel mechanic industry and they can fix absolutely anything. It's like everybody, but we're buddies, you know? It's like it's no big deal. You just need to look at this thing. You just need to tweak this thing. And it's like you just need to use the, but it's like they are so, some of it is education, but a lot of it, they're just very, both of them are, and my dad, all three of them are so innately talented that they know the quite actual literal right hammer to hit in the right place.
yeah,
And there's not a single human on this planet other than us, our close family, that should get that for free.
yeah.
Fair
And I,
treatment.
now here's what I will say. I don't want people to think that I have no, I believe this is my belief.
Yeah.
And my mentor actually in our industry we mended, my mentor taught me this and I have held on to this so tight, is chew on the meat and spit out the bones. What I'm
Yeah.
talking might not be for everybody, but
Yeah.
there might be some things that you love, chew on it and spit out what doesn't
Yeah.
work for you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this, for me, I believe, and this can sound really, I'm just going to say it. I believe that if you aren't good in your space and you don't have everything worked out, you don't have your business set up, you don't have all these things, you then going over here to give this away for free is like me saying, I can't feed and clothe my child, but I'm going to go over here and feed and clothe my neighbor's child. That sounds crazy to most people. Like,
Well, but that's that Secrets of Six Figure Women book where it's like it is anything but noble to give of yourself, to give to others at the detriment to yourself. And it's just, in society we are taught you have to give. Yeah, I know this is the only shirt that you've got, but they don't have a shirt, so you better give them your shirt. And I know now
yeah,
you don't have a shirt, but at least they have a shirt. And I think in society we're wired like that. So then when it comes to marketing, and because that's where that is part of your marketing work that you do, is like who really gets you for free, who really gets that access. And also I think along this lines of like the thing that I think is the biggest load of BS in the world is this mother trucking trade crap. Like, can we talk about this? I don't care if you're a power washer. I don't care if you're a business coach. I don't care if you're a dentist. I don't care what the freak you make cookies. Stop trading with people because I think there's no way to greater devalue yourself as a business owner than doing a freaking trade. It's not even. It's not equal.
yeah.
Oh, I could go for days. But like, so it's almost, I mean, you kind of help people see who, you almost help them like really value themselves.
And that is something that is one of those people don't, oh, that's not very attractive. It's not like I
That's
won't
why you
meet
call
with,
yourself a marketing coach. You should call
right.
yourself a value proposition coach.
I probably should, but here's what I know.
Yeah.
People people don't want that, but they need it. So I'm
Oh, say your famous quote. We don't give people what they,
people what they want. We give them what well, most businesses give people what they need,
yeah.
not what they want. Great marketing, you
Hmm.
give people what they want, and when they come in, then you give them what they need.
Amen.
And that's why
Yeah.
most of us are like, people are like, well, Robyn, you're like a mindset coach, you're a this coach, you're a that coach, you're a this coach, you could do all these things. And I'm like, well, once you come in here, I'm going to give you what you need.
Hmm.
Now, if it's really outside of my wheelhouse, I have hundreds of coaches I
Hmm.
will send you to because there are things that I don't want to do. And there are things,
Hmm.
I'm not a therapist. I have referrals for that, right? Like I'm not a life coach. I have all those things.
Yeah.
So I really do though what is happening. And I just had this conversation because I think this is really important. Mostly, this is a struggle for females. I'm just going to say that it is mostly for females. It's our culture, especially in the health and wellness industry. Oh,
Oh.
sure. I'm supposed to help and give. So how can I make money and charge so much when I'm supposed to give it away for free because I'm helping people. I'm making them better. I'm a healer.
Hmm.
Well, here's the deal. If you
Hmm.
can't take care of your own business, you can never give away for free. And
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
and I have a very similar thought process in trade, especially
Yeah.
for me. Like if two people look at each other, now I will say, full disclosure, I trade with a couple people. Now, what we have is really clear communication on the idea is
Hmm.
we would literally just be exchanging money back and forth and the banks would be just getting our money back and
Yeah.
forth, right? Like, this is kind of dumb. And
But
we
you,
track
there's
it.
not a bunch of people. You have like two or three people.
Okay, I say two. Yeah, two. Two is, you're
Literally
right.
two.
Two.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you're right. That to me is a bunch, by the way.
No,
Two is a,
you have two people you trade with.
and
Very
we
conc
track it. We both track what we're doing. We have a tracking
and
trade.
you track it.
Yeah, there's a lot to that in my
So if
opinion.
your coaching value goes up and your service costs more, then in the tracking, we're reporting that, correct?
We
She's
are
not
100%.
grandfathered into your OG rate.
No. And that's like a whole nother thing about a mindset of like what you talked about, going back to what you said
Yep.
before about slashing and like discounting,
Yep.
discounting, discounting. It's
Yep.
like, I just want to ask you, do the highest end brands ever have discounts?
I mean, okay, back in our previous lifetime in direct sales, I would
Here we go.
always train thousands of people. Are you Apple or American Eagle? Because ain't
Mm,
nobody paying full price at American Eagle. If you do, you're stupid. But Apple, just buy the laptop, buy the iPad, buy the phone, buy the watch because they're never going to be on sale anyway. So like just buy it. But are you training? So I always would say to my team, are you training your customers that you are Apple or American Eagle? And how I knew this was because I'd been in business for about 6 months selling my skincare, and I walked into the bank to make my deposits. This was like 13, 14 years ago. So I literally had to walk into the bank and make deposits. And she said, "Hey, I'm out of a few things. When is your next sale?" That's all I need to hear. I mean, I've been in business, no, I probably 6 months. And I went, "Oh my gosh, I have literally programmed my customers to wait for the next sale. I am freaking American Eagle. And I am not American Eagle. I am Apple." Ugh. Because
and
when
you're
you discount your product, you're not discounting the product, you're discounting you.
Yes. And that, in our industry, I will tell you, I had clients that were other people's clients and would say, "Oh, my other person would
Uh,
do this." And here's the deal. I have a sale twice a year. Here's
Same.
when they are. And by the way, you only get access to those when you do this much a year with me.
Yes,
But
when you're a
by,
VIP.
yeah, like
Yeah.
if and so what's so interesting, Chelsea, though, you and I in business and especially in I think direct sales
Yeah.
are very unique, which is why I had to have a place. And
What do you
here's
mean we're unique? What?
here's what I think, maybe going back to this idea that we were talking about, like finding your value and helping people. I really
Hmm.
think about when I started in direct sales, I was young, I knew nothing about
Hmm.
business, I knew nothing about sales,
Hmm.
and people helped me. So for me, there's this like, how do I help people, right? Without, so what I
Oh,
did,
I feel that's so big. Like I wouldn't be here if I didn't have a lot of people help me. But I also have paid well over $200,000 in
right.
coaches and programs and therapies and
So here's the thing. Same, right? Same. I'm like, I joke. I'm like, nobody would pay as much as me except for Chelsea,
yeah.
right? Like that's the joke about. Like
Yeah.
that's really true. Um, but the part for me was,
Mm.
how do I make it so those people can still benefit from my value without taking away what is most important to me? Hence, my membership starts at $29 a month because if
Mm.
you, right? If
Yeah.
you that access to me looks different, right? It's
Yeah.
not as the access is definitely different, but you have the potential to grow and start somewhere that feels really doable.
So do you feel like vulnerability hangover coming in hot? Do you feel like I have sold my value so much to people that I do have a great base listener, whateverness
Yeah.
of I right? Have a great little pod I have a great following for not even for being like a 6 week old podcast. I really do.
Yeah.
But I have not then done a great job of transferring the value of why you would want me one on one. Right? You're shaking. She's shaking her head, y'all. Yes.
Yes. Oh, I forget some people are listening. I've got
Yes. A lot of people are listening.
a lot of people are listening.
For all
Yes.
y'all on any sort of audio listening device, she was big time shaking her head. Yes.
Yes,
Correct.
yes. And here's
I have put out really great value as to like why you want to listen to the podcast, but I've done a terrible job putting out the value as to why you should work with me one on one.
And to be fair, this podcast is not a reflection of how I coach. This is not a reflection of how you coach. So nobody
No.
actually knows what it looks like to coach with you just because you're putting value out there.
Yeah. Golly. I know that's why I was like, oh man, we should record sessions back and forth of that. That would be really funny. I mean,
That'd be
we would definitely repel or attract people.
oh,
Yeah.
and you know what my favorite thing is? I tell people I love, and I don't even call them haters. I love when
Oh,
people look at me and go, "I don't understand what you do," and I don't, and I
yeah.
don't like. They'll just like look at me with like
Hmm.
their
With the
brow
people
furrow.
who don't understand your magic. It's like when that one person said to me, "How did you get to where you are only doing that?" I don't know.
And you know what I say is like, I think you're totally right. I'm not a good fit for you.
Mm,
And that you know that. But people want me to like what you said in the beginning. People want me to convince them
mm,
that I should sell myself to you. And I said, honestly, I know
yeah,
because and me, the reason I know this is how I got into this business is
yeah,
people asked me to do this thing and then started paying me.
yeah.
And I'm like, wait, I've been giving this away for free for 10 years and you're telling me people will pay me for
Like pay you
this,
well. Yeah.
pay me
Because
forward with?
another belief that you have, that I'd written in my notes is I wanted you to talk about networking and social media.
Well, so
Like you do not believe that everyone needs to use social media to be successful.
I told you I have a lot of unpopular opinions, Chelsea. Okay,
No,
let
I
me
just
give.
want this for anybody that's a business owner that is like, oh my gosh, now I have to become a content creator. If you feel like that's a load of crap and you don't want to become a content creator and you want to find alternative ways to network and to grow your business, Robyn is your girl.
So
That's right. Like
con
that's part of your people value that there's more than just social media to grow your business.
Yeah, and context for me, I want to give context to
Uh-huh.
this because I think we can take a clip of anything and go, oh,
Ooh.
right?
Mhm.
Context is super important. When I sit down with clients, everyone's like, oh, you're a marketing coach, you do social media. And I'm like, no.
No.
And so what I'm about to tell you started as like I just wasn't doing it, but now I'm doing it solely to kind of prove a point until I'm not going to prove a point anymore. So I had a client who was like, Robyn, you're going to tell me I need to get on social media. I said, definitely one, it's not my job to tell you to do anything.
Yeah.
But two, I want to ask you, what are the things you love about what you do? What are the things that
Mm.
you really like light you up? And they were like, I love sitting at the table with widows who are confused about this process. And I'm like, wow, that's so beautiful. And she's
Oh.
like, and I said, can we assume that widows need community? Can we assume that they need support? And so so I believe in 3 to 5 marketing channels.
Mhm.
If they're really good,
What does
3
that
is
mean?
great. Okay, so 3 ways that you're marketing. So, for example, your podcast is marketing, your
Oh.
social media is marketing, your email is marketing. Those groups that you love to attend and go meet people at is a channel, right?
She's
There,
being facetious. I don't like going to these networking things. I literally told her if I had to be in BNI, I'll drown myself in a cup of water first.
which is because that's like this is where we're the exact opposite, right? This is where I built my
You love
entire.
BNI. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I mean, I would dance around with a chicken on my head on Instagram before I would do that.
But see, the thing is, you and I would sit down and I would say, Chelsea, stop going to these things. Just stop. Right? As much as I said to the other person, don't post on social media because it makes you throw up, right? So, anyways, I sat with this client. We came up with 3 marketing channels, and she looked at me and she goes, none of these marketing channels were social media. And I and guess what? It was like the gates opened and she felt like she could go act and
Mm,
get on it because she didn't feel this like I have to. Now,
that makes so much
I
sense.
anti social media at all. Social media definitely has a place if you want visibility, awareness, and people have
Yeah,
created huge businesses on social media.
correct.
Now,
Correct.
something I give a lot of clients because most everyone this applies to, and Chelsea, you and I kind of hit on this. A lot of people on social media, their job is social media and to influence you to
Hmm.
do something based on their social media. They are quote unquote influencers, right?
Yes.
Most people
Yeah.
are influencers.
Yes.
Now, the problem with that translation is most of my clients are business owners using social media as a marketing channel.
Because you have a lot of brick and mortar people.
I wouldn't say brick and mortar as far as they have locations. I would say they have a product or a service that they
Hmm.
sell. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you don't make money on social media. Well,
No.
you probably, but your money maker is clarity coaching and getting people clear. That's
Hmm.
where you make money.
Correct.
Marketing, you're using social media to market yourself.
Correct.
Now, some people that you've even had on this podcast, social media is how they make their money.
Correct. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
so what we do to business owners is we go, hey, by the way, you have to be a social media influencer. You have to go do the service or thing you're good at. So, for example,
Hmm.
let's say you're a massage therapist.
It's just so
Okay,
overwhelming.
yeah, you've got to go 40 hours a week and be well, 20 hours a week and go massage people. And
Yeah.
then when you're downtime, you've got to then go create content so that people will come for the massage.
Yeah.
That's really overwhelming. So one of my things is, if your job is not making money through social media or influencing through social media, you either have to have high accountability and carve out time, or, and most of the time, or you have to delegate.
Yeah. For
I am
sure.
a huge fan of delegating, especially like it'd be dumb, Chelsea, if you delegated your social media, I think, because
Yeah.
it's natural to you, you're good at it, but the things that you should be delegating, right? And I hate to shit on people, but
Yeah.
the things that can be delegated, someone's going to do better than you,
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
right?
Like taking this podcast and slicing and dicing it and getting it where like if Carline if she
Yes.
disappeared today, I would be like, "Well, guys, it's been a good run."
And that's
Yay!
exactly it. And that's kind of what my goal to teach people
Yeah.
is, hey,
Hmm.
you cannot do everything
Mm-hmm.
well. You can
Yeah.
do it all, but something's going to suffer.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
quite literally, there are good people. And again, I think what's most of the fear is there have been really, really, really effective marketing that has scammed people, and
Mm.
people have been hurt in the process. So they don't know who to trust. They don't know what's right. They don't know what's wrong. And so for me, it's why I always told myself, I'm not going to sell anything, because then people can trust that when I recommend something, it is purely and solely out of, I think this is best for you,
Yeah.
not buy this thing because it makes me money.
Because you don't even have on your website, really, all they can do is book a little free discovery call, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And
this is why I'm not an agency, because, and I actually went back and forth. People are like, Robyn, you should have an agency because whatever you say, whatever you do, AKA why my membership came about.
yeah.
Because it's not an agency. It's, we all have geniuses, meet each other, connect with each other,
Mm-hmm.
uh, network with each other while
Yeah.
you're growing your business, right? Like
Yeah.
it all just aligns with who I am and what I want to offer.
I do think that you are a master at networking, bringing people together and helping them individually see their unique genius while helping them collectively work their unique geniuses together to help each other in business. And that's where I
Yeah.
think like your membership is so beautiful per who you are because you are bringing all of the geniuses together to help elevate the collective and elevate everyone's business.
Quite literally, you just
Yeah.
said it perfectly.
Yeah.
I'll take that recording and use that for the rest of
Yeah.
my life. Because like
hmm
you articulated, and you know what?
hmm
You articulated it so well. Want to talk about vulnerability? I can feel my body emotionally
Mm-hmm.
because
Mhm.
that's
And
the
I couldn't
lack.
tell you what I said is
I,
that's
and
like that's our like this is both of our geniuses at play. I'm like,
yeah,
we're gonna have to
there it
listen back to that because I couldn't repeat that if you asked me.
yeah, because that's your genius, right? And
Hmm
that's the thing that's so beautiful. It's why I love recorded technology, because people will say, Robyn, what did you just say? I was like, I have
I
no
don't
idea.
know.
Recorded it because it was probably great.
But that is
You know,
true. And I think that's that feeling why like being in the beta group made me go, I've never felt so aligned and so alone. And this space makes me feel not alone. And I want this.
there it is. That is like, and here's the thing. The
Hmm
hard part for me in that,
hmm
that can be any demographic.
Psychodemographic, which is why you go then for value. Because the value is I want to be a business owner. I want to be living in full alignment and I don't want to be doing it alone.
I don't, when we're
I
not
don't want
made
to
to,
do it alone. We're made to be, we're not made
we
to
are
do it alone. Correct.
community. And what is
Correct.
also really hard for me, like I struggle with this word expert, or
Mm,
like this, the idea that you are, that's why I call myself a marketing igniter, because
yeah.
I want to, which by the way was somebody else's idea that gave it to me, right? Like, to be
Aw.
fair, right?
Yeah.
Because they're very creative and like, I don't know what you do. It doesn't like really set right. And I'm like, that's it. And so I want to light the thing inside of you.
hmm
I'm not the expert in, really, if we're going to be honest, anything.
Yeah. But I mean that I think that's also you're an Enneagram 7 and Enneagram 7s they will see inside your soul and speak to the magic that you didn't even know that you had. Like that is
Yeah. That's,
the gift of a
and that
seven.
it's the gift, but it's also,
Yeah.
I will tell you, Chelsea, the amount of times I've said things like to someone, if I said to another soul what I said to you about your friends, and I
Yeah.
can't believe you said it out loud on a public forum. I love that you and we're admitting, like I say
But
a
you're
lot of
not
this,
wrong.
and that I'm not. It doesn't. But most people, this is your eight, right? Remember, your eight loves about me, right? Because my eight wing is so strong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hard What's hard about that is if people aren't self-aware,
Yeah.
those things can go from helpful to hurtful
Yeah.
because they internalize it. And so that's why I
Mm.
know most business owners that are like, I'm just really like, I don't know, like that. I am not your fit. Like
So
I
you
you
would say to me, one of my major values of one of my clients needs to be extreme honesty. I value extreme honesty. I give extreme honesty. I love the people that are extremely honest with me. Like, is that what you're saying? Like that would be,
exactly. So I learned this
yeah.
because for what I believe, our superpowers are also our biggest challenge, right?
Yep.
So my
Like our biggest
greatest
growth
gift.
area.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I remember the first time someone said, "Hey, Robyn, I want you to come to this event for free because I know you're going to give me the most honest feedback." And I was like, wait, that's like a positive thing? Right? Like my whole life, it was like,
Uh,
Robyn's going to tell you what's up. And
yeah.
you probably don't
Mm,
want her to be around.
yeah.
And then it like, wait, people in business are like they actually want to know the truth because they're spending money and time on these things,
Yeah.
and if people keep fluffing them and telling them how pretty they are and how great this is, they're not going to move forward. Well, when somebody like me, with I have self-awareness, I have a little bit of tact, I also think I might have asked the question like, hey, Chelsea, how many friends do you think you would still have if you stopped giving that away? I probably said it a little bit nice, maybe, I don't know, probably not, but
I mean, we were very deep into a conversation when you said it.
but
So
like
it was like it was very perfect in the
in the
context.
context, right? But that's the thing that
Yeah.
I think
Because,
a
oh,
lot of
I
people,
know why. This is where the context came from. I said, the problem is I have no testimonials and I have no raving fans because the people that I've helped the most absolutely suck at raving about me because all they know is their friend went to coffee with them. And when they left, they felt better. So therefore, I've screwed myself. That's where that. And then you said, how many friends do you really think you'd have if you weren't so helpful? Like if you weren't helping them like that. And I was like, that's a dang good question.
and this will, if you are in human design, you'll understand this. I have learned
Mm.
that my whole life, I have felt like I had things to give people,
Hmm.
but I didn't wait for the invitation. So I went in before people were
Yep.
ready for me. And
Yep.
so now my business, I really have to vet people. Are you ready? Like, are you ready to rumble?
Mm.
Like I have to vet you. Like, are you ready for this? 'Cause we're gonna get down and dirty and figure it out. Chelsea had a
I
hand raised.
just, sorry, I had such a giant aha and drop my ring all at the same time. This
Go.
is where my messaging is so wrong. Like, you just helped me unlock why my messaging is so messed up. Why I have a client right now that I'm like, I don't even know what, like, you don't want to hear what I have to say. You just want to hear what you have to say. And you literally want to sit at coffee with somebody who just has to hear what you have to say. And like, I have a lot to say. And like, technically, you invited me in because you did buy coaching with me, but like, you don't actually want to hear any of it. And then when I tell you, you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I'm like, what are we sitting here? But the thing is like, my messaging is too happy and kind, and it needs to be more honest and cutthroat. And like, here's the deal. If you're like done sitting where you are, and you're sick of screwing around and you're like, I'm so over this. I'm not going to buy one more freaking course, one more freaking book, one more freaking anything. And you just want somebody to sit with you, listen to you for a second, throw it all up, and get straight to the point of like ABC, XYZ, got to change. Let's go. I'm definitely
And
your
hey,
girl.
thought,
Yeah,
I know that I'm doing this very publicly, but you
that's
told me
okay.
to go. One of the things I did a small like certification course for coaching versus like therapy and consulting.
Hmm.
One of the things that I say too is like the reason I call myself a marketing igniter is sometimes I'm going to coach you and sometimes I'm going to consult. So, something to
Mm.
consider with your messaging is, are you actually coaching or are you really consulting?
Tell me the
Because
difference.
so coaching is more of, and coaches you can hold me to the fire if I've got this wrong, but
Yeah.
my understanding of coaching is you are there to hold a space for people, to help them, ask them the right questions for
Yeah.
they have an answer inside of them,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Inside of
Yeah.
them, and you're helping them find that answer and find the voice around that. Where
Yeah.
consulting is, hey, here's what you need to do, and here's how we move forward.
I think
So
I
for
coach and then I consult. But like even with
right,
that specific client, it's like she's telling me how she's overwhelmed and how she's tired and how she's not working out and how she's not doing this and how she's not doing that. And then I'm asking the questions of like, what would your ideal life be? What would your ideal schedule be? Da 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 da. So would it seems to me that this would be a better format and that you shouldn't be doing this and that you shouldn't be doing that based on what you just said. And then she's like, yeah, but I'm not actually going to execute like that. And I'm like, okay.
I've learned with like life coaching and people that are have been in this industry a long time that
Hmm.
I have learned from people that this is why I struggle with it. There's no differentiation because not everyone is a good coach. And I don't mean
Hmm.
that to be rude, not for you, but just in general. Like most people, some people are teachers, they're giving content, they are advising, but
Yeah.
coaching a very special, like I think, to sit there and go,
Hmm.
this is not about me, this is none of my stuff. I have to
Hmm.
let them sit in this and go, you know what? If that's how you feel, then that's exactly what you need to trust, right? And
Hmm.
then when they come back and
Hmm.
go, that didn't really work, and you want to be like, well, I told you so, but and it is kind of the frustrating thing I think sometimes for me with one-on-one coaching is when
Hmm.
people are like they say they want something but they're unwilling to move, then
Yeah.
you have to say I like to ask the question, are you really ready to move forward in this or do you want to stay where you
Yeah.
are?
And I think I run into people where it's like they are ready, they do want to move forward, but what they're not, they are ready to move forward, but what they're not ready to do is face the fact that there's pieces of things like, let's say, scarcity. Like in this example, scarcity is holding this person back. It's like you said you don't want to like pack the life out of your schedule, but yet you are because of scarcity. And then when I go to like, we need to work on this, your need to avoid pain causes you to avoid the hard stuff about that. So I'm like, and I just said, like, there's nothing I can honestly help you with. Like, you want me to help you get more clear on your schedule and what to do and create some structure in your life because I'm really, really good at taking absolute chaos and helping people create structure. But the structure doesn't matter if the sabotage is so high. And you don't want to address the sabotage. So honestly, there's nothing I can do for you.
No, here's the deal. I'm gonna say this. I
Yeah.
think you should just take the word coach out of it because you're a clarity catalyst. Period.
Mm,
Right? We talked about this.
I know,
And
but
it
do people know what that means?
no, but it sounds cool, and we can have
Yeah.
messaging that really aligns with that because in
Oh,
all reality, everybody's a coach these days. And I don't not to
yeah.
downplay us,
Because I
downplay
really am. I've always said, like, I'm just a soul catalyst. And I think that's what happens is people think that we're best friends. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, God, like, literally brought me into your life for this moment to take you from A to B, to like, it's like this transformational time in your life where
yeah.
things were changing and you just needed me right there with you. And then I realized that that's very magical for people and people want to hire that. I'm like, oh, I should market that.
And that ability to say, hey, in 90 days we're gonna get results. That's the kind of thing, which by the
Yeah.
way, not coaching, because most you can't we can't coaching, there's no guarantee we can get you results. Really,
Yeah.
in all reality, we were talking about this
Yeah.
in one of my masterminds is like, what's your guarantee? And I was like, as a coach, there's really no guarantee other than,
No.
hey, you can guarantee that I'm going to give you my best and that I'm going to be honest. My guarantee is you can always guarantee that I'm going to be honest. I'm going to give you my best and that's my guarantee. My coaching
Oh, Robin, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
because that's all you're going to get.
That's beautiful. Because
And
like that's my friend Jessie that sells her Pilates platform. She can't guarantee you're going to get fit, but she
yeah,
can guarantee that you're always going to have new, fun, engaging material that you can use to work out anywhere.
amen.
That's so good. Okay. Well, y'all, she'll be back. She'll be back many, many times. I'm working on an Enneagram series where we talk about specific information on each Enneagram. I know! And obviously you had to come on as a seven because you are the most self-aware seven who you're the most self-aware seven who knows that there is oh my gosh, she's screaming, she's waving a pom-pom in the air, guys, a gold pom-pom. You are the most self-aware seven who understands what it is to be a seven that I know. So obviously, I already have you written down on my little whiteboard over here to be the seven. So in closing, what piece of advice or permission do you feel you tend to give your clients on repeat that you would love to give our listeners today?
There's the first thing that pops into my head is the stop shooting on yourself and stop letting people shoot on you,
Mm,
right? You should be on social media. You should be marketing this way. You should.
mm,
And
mm.
start
Amen.
focusing on what you want.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want your life to look like? What do you want people to know about you?
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I will tell
Yeah.
you. That sometimes can be hard because you have to first know who you are. And you have to first know what you're offering. And most people, that's the challenge right there. They don't
Yeah.
know who they are and they don't truly know what they're offering. Then once they do, how do I get that message in front of people? And the shoulding is like, oh, I watched this course, I read this book, so I should. I should. Or you could, or
Yeah.
you can, right? Like that
Yeah.
I always say to people, stop shooting on yourself. And I
Yeah.
don't want to shoot on, right? I try to move my verbiage to you could try this, or you could look at this, or
Mm-hmm.
how does that feel, right? Those kind of things, like trusting yourself. And so for
Absolutely.
me, the thing that got me to this place where I feel like for the first time in my entire career, in my entire life, I am finally doing the thing that God called me to do.
Mm.
That so clearly I could cry every day that I'm like, this is my life, this is my
Yeah.
job. It's because I stopped looking at the world telling me you should move faster. Why didn't you hit this level? Why haven't you done this? Why are you still here? Why did you marry this person? Why did you do this? You should have done this. You should have done that. And
Yeah.
instead, I'm like, oh, I have to honor myself and say, this is exactly what Robyn
Mm.
needs. This is what I want. And that gives me so much clarity that I never have to compromise.
Yeah. So beautiful.
It's a hard life, though, because you hear that should in your
Yeah.
voice, in your head.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I can think of a lot of areas that I got shoulded on in life, but then also areas where I've shoulded on myself.
yeah,
So I think that's so beautiful, like giving people that permission to stop letting other people should on them, but then also stop shoulding on yourself. So where, well, we'll put in the show notes. Do you want to say where they can find you? Or
so what I'm gonna do is in the show notes,
yeah.
there's gonna be where you can find me.
Hmm.
And I also am gonna have a wait list slash interest list for my membership that is
Yeah.
going to launch.
You definitely want to
Uh,
get on the wait list.
yeah, so
If
that
you are a
so
business owner, get on the wait list.
right for sure. And here's the deal: there's gonna be a free trial, so you can come jump in. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like I said, it's gonna be like a $29 a month offer. So it's kind of silly to not just jump in and see if you like it or not.
Yeah.
And I really think this is the for me, this is the thing that I believe is going to change other businesses. Like I really think this collaboration and what you said about elevating the whole collective. So get on the list and just jump in. And we'll see what happens. We'll party together and you'll get to hang.
I love
So
it. All right. Thank you, All Things Excellence fam, for coming along with us today to
thank you.
get turned on your head anything about marketing and how to look at things. Definitely hunt down Robyn, follow her on all the socials. All the stuff is down in the show notes. Thank you so much. And you will see her again here in a couple months when we feature Enneagram 7s on our Friday episode. So thanks, All Things Excellence fam. Talk to you next time.